Hello, beautiful people. So I was not going to come on here today, but I had this strong feeling in my heart that I needed to be here for you all. And today's title for this live that I'm doing is called Love Like Your Life Depends on It. Because guess what? It does. Like, okay, so I'm going to find the scripture for my people of faith, for my people who read the Bible. But honestly, our lives literally depend on us loving ourselves. And how do I know that? How do I know that? Because when you, like for me, for example, when I started loving myself, it was very easy. It was much easier to love other people because I was coming from a place of love. And something that a lot of people hear me say is how you treat yourself is how you treat others. How you love yourself is how you love others. Like all of it, okay? So, what I want you to do is literally think about how you love yourself because how you love yourself is showing up. Because, as I always say, results cannot, will not lie. For my faith believers, you know the tree by its fruit. The fruit cannot lie. So, when the fruit cannot lie, your results cannot lie. Okay. So, what I want to do is kind of get to the heart of this. Like, love like your life depends on it because it does. Um, and I can't remember the exact scripture. I'm trying to find it over here. Oh, here it is. Mark 12:31. Love your neighbor as yourself. No other commandment is greater than these. Love your neighbor as yourself. Here's the crazy part. If you are not loving yourself in a way that reflects what love is, then 9 times out of 10, that's how you're loving other people. And I'm not saying that it's bad. What I'm saying is that's what's happening. And you get to decide what that is. You know, it just is what it is right now. And so now we're going to get to the heart of this. So, one thing I do know is that there is a problem, or I like to call it the opportunity. And here's a question that's going to take us to this opportunity. So, why don't we love ourselves deeply? Like, why? Like, why don't we? Why do we not love ourselves deeply? Now, this is actually um, a question that I've had to ask myself before. And sometimes I still ask because I am always going through trying to figure out, I guess assess where I am and assess where I want to go because without a vision, we perish. Point blank. Okay, so one of the reasons that we don't love ourselves deeply is because we have been taught selflessness to the point of self erasure. No, let me break it down. And I got my notes right here because I've been taking notes. So, for one, I know me personally as a mom, we have been conditioned to believe that loving others means putting ourselves last or not at all. And honestly, it's not just for moms, it could also be for dads. It could be for any kind of parent or anyone who's there for someone else. We've been taught, and then we've been taught that if we love ourselves, that is we're being conceited, which I think is crazy because loving yourself is so essential. Like I said before, it is how we love ourselves is how we actually love other people. But anywho, let's keep going. The next reason why we don't love ourselves deeply is we tie our worth to productivity and roles. Without our productivity, without our roles, we don't feel like we deserve love and we don't feel like we deserve it even from ourselves. And I think that's crazy. And some of the things like people say, oh, you're a good mom, you're a good wife, you're a good friend. But what about being good to yourself? Like, why? Why can't you just love yourself right where you are? Because you are worth love right now. And if you don't believe it, say it all day if you have to yourself. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of my own love. I'm worthy of anyone else's love. You're worthy of love. And the last thing, or last reason why we don't love ourselves deeply is because we do not see ourselves clearly. Like, Let that marinate because oftentimes we really do not see ourselves clearly. Like we often focus on the things that bring us down all the time. For example, we focus on our flaws, we focus on our failures, and we focus on what we are not doing rather than honoring who we are and how far we've come. Like that inner voice, y'all. Sometimes you just want to go in there and just yank it and throw it away. That's me sometimes. And sometimes I'll sit there and I'll just observe my thought. Well, the thoughts, because your thoughts are not always yours, because there's some thoughts that why would you even think them? You wouldn't want those thoughts, you know? So sometimes I would sit and just observe them and pretend like I'm grabbing them, like, wait, do I want that one? Nah, let's reframe it. Let's give it a better thought, right? So, with that being said, I just said earlier that I want you to love like your life depends on it, but that there are things that keep us from loving ourselves deeply. But here's the next question: how does that affect those we love? Now, this is where the stuff may hit the fan. If it triggers you, I apologize. This could be a trigger warning for some people, especially if you are in the process now of wanting to change and be a better you, not just for yourself, but also for others around you. Here we go. So, how this affects people we love. So, first off, we model depletion instead of devotion. Look, this was me. I was doing that. So here's the deal. So we're running on empty. And if you're a mom, our family, they don't get the best of us. They get whatever's left of us, right? Because we're depleting ourselves, and everyone always hears you can't pour from an empty cup. And yes, that is true. But the whole key here is not just pouring from a full cup, it's just making sure that you are in overflow. And technically, you don't even have to pour, just let the overflow reach them. Let the overflow reach. So, here's the next thing that it does. This is how it affects other people as well. So, it teaches our children as well as those around us a warped vision of love. Like, like it's not even real love. And so, here's the deal. So, kids learn self love. Guess who they learn it through? Through you, through me. Those around us, guess who they learn it through? Through you, through me. And if they see us neglect ourselves, guess what they're going to do? They're going to do it too. And if they see us not treating ourselves well, guess what they're going to do? They're not going to treat themselves well. And they are more than likely, if they're kids, they're going to grow up thinking that this is normal. And to me, like my heart, my heart goes out because I wouldn't want my kids to have to live through that, live a life in such a small way, not knowing who they are, not truly loving themselves. Because when we love ourselves that way, which is not real love, what happens is we attract those kinds of people into our lives, and that's real. And the last thing that triggered me, even when creating this for you all, was the fact that it creates silent resistance, like silent resentment. Because I don't know if I say resistance, but silent resentment. So here's the deal. So we give so much and then quietly expect others to notice it or repay it. And when they don't, we feel unseen. So so when we go through those things, not loving ourselves, we're often quiet. And then when other people don't give it back to us, we're mad. It's like, well, if you know what you want, say that. And I tell my kids all the time, if you know what you need, if you know what you want, say that. Ask that, because we keep putting ourselves last by just hoping people will see it and thinking, oh, people don't understand me. Well, no, because I'm not standing up for me because I am not loving me the way that I need to love me. So I am calling to you all. If any of this resonates with you and you feel like you haven't been loving yourself the way you need to love yourself, then I want to give you some tips that's going to help you. So I want you to start this today. How to love yourself today, like today. So I have an acronym for you all, and it's called LOVE. And the first thing I want you to do is actually listen. Listen to your needs. Listen to your needs. For example, just take 5 minutes, check in with you. Like, what do you truly need? Do you need rest? Do you need nourishment? Do you need connection? Like, that is a way to show yourself love. Like, what the world do I need in this moment? And y'all, That has changed a lot of things for me. It has helped me in my physical health, it's helped my mental health, it's helped my emotional health, just checking in with myself. That's it, real simple. And then the next one, own your truth. This one is not like society may say, oh, live your truth, own your truth. This is more about acknowledging where you're hurting, where you've been ignoring your heart, and also where you desire more. Like, own that, be honest and be open about that. Like, where am I, like, ask yourself, where am I hurting? Where am I ignoring my heart? And where, like, do I desire more? What is it that I desire? Ask yourself those things. And the next thing I want you to do with the V, value your voice. Your voice is beautiful and is waiting to be heard, first off, by you. So, with valuing your voice, I want you to speak kindly to yourself, because when you speak kindly to you, then you can also speak kindly to others. So important. And one thing I like to do is I use affirmations, I journal, and that helps to remind myself that my voice, my feelings, my dreams, they matter. And your voice, your feelings, your dreams, they matter, point blank. And with the E, extend grace. I've said this before, but I'll say it a million times if I have to, until people do that, because it's so important. So, right here, you don't have to do it perfectly, but extend grace to yourself. Like, a lot of us, especially as mamas, we will give grace to everybody else, but we won't give it to ourselves. And I think it's so important for us as moms, as humans, to extend grace to ourselves. Because here's the deal, love is not rigid, it's not, it's compassionate, is connecting, so give yourself the grace so that you freely give it to others, point blank, like I said earlier. So give yourself some grace and others will benefit from that grace that you give yourself. So I want you to ask yourself this question. So what's one way you can listen to, own, value, or extend something loving to yourself today? You still have time. I don't care what time of day it is, I don't care when you're watching this. Actually think about a way that you can listen to what you need. You can own where you are, where you're hurting, so that you can move forward from that. Value where you are. Value the fact that you are, whatever job you have, whatever it is that you do, that you're actually doing good in something. And extend some love, some compassion to yourself, some grace to yourself. Now, I'm almost done, but there was one more thing that I wanted to make sure that I had on here so that I didn't forget. And that is, your life doesn't just depend on others loving you, it thrives when you start loving you. Okay. So, my heart for you today is that you open your heart to loving yourself. Start now, loving yourself, and start with love, the acronym. And you can always rewind this and go back to the acronym. But look, that's all I have for you guys. I try not to keep y'all too long, but I've been saying this for a minute, but I love you to life, not death. That's why I'm here. And I love you to peace, not pieces. And please surround yourself with people that love you to life and people that love you to peace. And I will see you next time.